Hi, Kylie here, and welcome to my Plan With Me for May 2025. So at the end of April, that was basically ending my last bullet journal. So this video will include a setup of my new bullet journal, followed by the setup of May. In the bullet journal, we tend to put a key at the front. My key is slightly different to the one that I guess is designed by Ryder Carroll, the person who created bullet journaling. Not necessarily creative bullet journaling, but bullet journaling as a concept. I just use slightly different things about sort of event and task. They're sort of just around the different ways. And I don't know why I still put a key in the front. I mean, they're mine. I know how they work. So I probably don't need to put them, but I still do. This is just what we do. Of course, I didn't show you me drawing up an entire year of months because why would you want to see this? So these are the future logs. If you don't bullet journal or you haven't sort of done it before, this is the section where you can go through and capture the things that people need you to do, or, you know, plans that you make for yourself. Because, of course, I draw every month up as it's happening. So, you know, at the beginning or the end of the month before. So things in June, I have to put them into my future log. They can't go into June because it's not drawn up yet. My 3 words, I do this every year. So I've just brought over, because I'm going to finish 2025 in this journal and I'm not going to start 2026 in it. I'm going to start a whole new one. I brought everything over from 2025. So my 3 words are space, explore and finish for this year. So you can see them there, and I talk about them more in the setup in January if you are interested in more detail. I'm not going to get into it here. I also decided to do an update on my goals, so how my goals are going so far. I've done really well with the courses. They've been set up and scheduled, but I need to promote them a lot more because, you know, I'm not getting the attendance that I would like to get, which is important. No progress on the Oracle cards. That's sort of like up next. But my A to Z, so I have a sketchnoting book of icons and I only have Y and Z to go. And then I have to sort out, you know, finishing all the layout and everything for print. But exploring Tassie's going quite well, and we have a holiday booked in for Uluru to go and take some photos, which will be fun, because buying the camera and everything is my new for Explore. I've been playing with my laser printer cutter thing and have a few things done, but no products. I don't know whether I'm going to continue with my TED sketch notes and put them together in a book. I think I am, but I'm just questioning that. I haven't sorted out a new physical activity to replace circus, and I really need to do that. My office is going pretty well. It just needs a little bit of tidy and tweak at the moment, and my systems have been going okay. I also have this page that I've sort of tweaked every single time I've done a bullet journal about my achievements, and I think I've sort of got the spread of it right now. Now, the other thing I do at the beginning of a bullet journal is I also put in a page of quotes, and the quotes are basically just little bits of inspiration for me. Ordinarily, I put in quotes from famous people, and I've had ones about like peace, ones about creativity, just life in general. This time I decided to include, I've got this little zine that has some little sayings of mine, or like ones that I've sort of come across in the ether, and I do not know if they belong to a specific person. And so I decided I would actually put them in this year, into this journal. So I have Growth Still Happens in Dark Places, which is a new one I've done, like with a collection of mushrooms. It's a poster that I have. Today I Will Be Brave Even When I Think I Can't. I've had that one for a very long time, from when I was doing my year of TED back in 2011. It's okay if all you did today was survive. That's a fairly common one, and one that sort of, I like to keep in mind. You don't have to earn rest is one of my favourite little epiphanies that, you know, I have no idea where I first encountered that. It was probably a couple of years ago that I first encountered it, and I was like, oh, wow, no, my brain doesn't actually believe that's true. So I should probably stick that on something, because my brain needs to know that that's true. It's okay not being okay. Balance is achieved in the moments. That's one that was an epiphany after I started doing circus and sort of following on from my year of TED. Thoughts are not facts. I so need to remember that on a regular basis. Embrace fear. It's where greatness lives. That was another one that came out from my year of TED when I regularly terrified myself. And your brain, in a good way, I'll point out, when I'm about to talk about this, your brain lies to you a lot. That's another one that is like, when you sort of see it written down, you go, well, yeah, of course it does. Oh, I really have to remember that because I'm a person who experiences anxiety and depression. And so my brain is very good at lying to me, very, very good. And I need to remember these things that, thoughts aren't facts and my brain lies to me. So, yeah, they've been important little lessons to keep for myself. Now, I'm going crazy with the patterning on this, and I probably could have just chilled out at this point, but I was having fun, so I just kept going. The thing I will point out is I must have had this bullet journal because it's another Archer and Olive bullet journal, and I must have had it sitting in the cupboard for a little bit. I know it's been there. The one I used last time was newer than this one. And I think they must have changed the paper because I'm putting around about the same amount of water that I was putting on in the last one, and it bleeds through a lot more and it dries a lot more quickly as well. So, I'm going to have to be a little bit mindful of that as I go through the rest of the year and use this bullet journal, because there are a few bits that bled through that annoyed me because they just shouldn't have. There's not enough water there for them to ordinarily bleed. So, you can see it there on the left-hand side. So I've got the mood tracker after that. For those of you, again, who aren't sort of familiar with this, I have done a mood tracking in a number of different ways. This way has actually really worked for me because I can see it over a period of time and get a good feel for how I'm actually going. The way that it works is it's like a line chart. So I just put a line out to where I felt my mood was that day. And I use other little symbols to sort of show, where my mindset is at, or, whether it was because I was tired or whatever. I just track a few other things on there as well with symbols. All right, we're into May, and May's theme was domestic animals. So pets, which is largely dogs and cats, because they're the main sort of pets that I think of. I could have done a range of other animals, but I decided I'd just stick mainly with dogs and cats. I do have some birds and a mouse in here somewhere, but yeah, we're largely doing dogs and cats. So on the left-hand side, I've got a collection of dogs in different poses. One's chewing a ball with its tail up in the air, and another one's on its back wriggling around. One's curled up sleeping. There are others that are just walking or sitting. And then on the right-hand side, I've got cats in similar-ish type different poses, walking, sitting, lying on the back, curled up. There's a stretching one that really didn't quite work out the way that I'd planned. And this is an interesting thing I discovered about myself. I way prefer drawing dogs than cats. Now, I am a dog person and not a cat person, so that might have something to do with it. But I just find proportionally and those sorts of things, I find dogs easier to draw. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's just having been around dogs a lot more because I am more of a dog person. So, interesting fact. April was an interesting month. I got a bit of downtime, which was nice. It was, of course, the anniversary of saying goodbye to Lil, and she does feature in a layout of cats and dogs, so we will get to that. But yeah, so we had the anniversary and that was a little bit sad. And then, we had we had some time off over Easter, and because in Australia the Friday after Easter was also a public holiday for Anzac Day, so Derek took the whole week and a bit off, and we did some walks and took some photos. We took some photos. We went to Mount Field National Park down here and took some photos of Fagus, which I'll put a couple of photos up of Fagus. It's quite an interesting plant or tree, and it only sort of gets this real change of colour. It sort of happens around Anzac Day usually, and it doesn't last for very long, and it's only in, I guess, cold high places in Tasmania. So yeah, it's the first year that we've actually gone out hunting for Fagus and taken some photos of it, which was good fun. But yeah, April was good. Got some downtime, got to relax a bit. Also got a heap of work finished. I had a heap of client work where the deadlines sort of all careened into April because there were delays and bits and pieces. So yeah, it's always interesting when that sort of stuff happens. But I got a bit of a break, and now for May I am doing a bit of travel for work, which is a bit unusual. I mean, it's still inside the state, but I'm going up to the northwest fairly regularly, which is a 3.5 hour drive, so it's not insignificant. So my quote for this month is, true belonging doesn't require you to change who you are, it requires you to be who you are. And that is a lovely piece of Brene Brown brilliance. And for those of you who may not be familiar with her, seriously, just look her up. Look up her TED Talks. She's amazing. She's a researcher into shame, talks about vulnerability and all those sorts of things. And yeah, she's very inspirational and has a lot of important things that I think more people need to make sure that they listen to around how some of these things work. And I've been doing a lot. So I've got client work at the moment where I'm writing a course on respect for an organisation, and I'm also helping another organisation define their values and do those sorts of things. So I've been playing a lot in the space around values and respect and inclusion and belonging and all of those sorts of things, which is why that quote came up. Just quickly, we're on week 1, and this is, I thought of it as I was drawing it as like a parent dog and a puppy, and then there are all these toys in between the two of them, and the parent's sort of looking at or the older dog is looking down at all the toys, and the puppy's looking very hopefully like, can we play? So that's what that is. So yeah, I've been absorbed a lot in the world of like values and respect and how we, interact with each other and the things that we do and everything else. And so it's been interesting for me in the last sort of few weeks going through and looking at all of that sort of stuff. It just brings a lot of things to mind, and I'm doing some workshops helping an organisation define their values, and it's reminded me of a couple of things. One, I need to engage with people more because I do isolate myself a little bit much. But second to that is that I'm really glad I don't work in an organisation with a group of people. We're on week 2 and we have 3 cats. The top one is sitting there with a mouse toy. The second one is sitting with a ball of wool. And the third one, which is the most oddly shaped cat I've ever seen, is in front of a food bowl. So yeah, that got out of whack. I don't know. This is what I mean. The cats just got out of whack, and I didn't sort of notice they were getting out of whack till I sort of penned them in and went, oh, that doesn't quite look right. But anyway. I've been reminded of office politics and the horrible things that people do to each other in workplaces that I'm like, I'm so glad that I work for myself. But at the same time, I do tend to isolate myself a little bit too much. So, it's a little bit chicken and eggy. Week 3, I went for sort of like the classic cartoon trope. So I've got a mouse with a block of cheese, I've got a cat who's watching the mouse, and a dog who's watching the cat. So it's a little bit like that. And they were quite cute. I quite like my mouse. I'm a little bit of a fan of that. It's pretty adorable. Week 4 is birds in cages. Really, this is to draw cages more than birds, because you can see the birds are extremely simple. One of the cages is open and a bird is flying away, but the rest of them, the other 2, the birds are in the cages. So I hope that you all had a lovely April and that you were able to get some time off and, spend a little bit of it relaxing. And you enjoyed Easter eggs, if these are the sorts of things that you enjoy. And that you have a lovely May as well. I'm really loving the season change. We're starting to get lovely crisp autumn mornings now. So that's always nice, because I do prefer the cold. I've spoken about that many, many times. And now we're on week 5. And week 5, I decided that because I was drawing dogs, or dogs and cats, but dogs, I should draw Lily. So I grabbed one of my favourite, this is actually from a video where she's sitting on the passenger seat of the car waiting for Derek, and that's why she's looking so intently ahead. So yeah, I decided we should have Lil. And I was doing a video, watching a video the other day, and this bleed-proof white paint, someone was using it to paint flowers on a watercolour thing, and I'm like, what the hell is that? That allows you to paint, have white actually in watercolour, and it sits quite well in the watercolour, but it's still like really very opaque, which is great. And that's what it is. So I use this because Lil had a bit of white on her coat at this point in time. But yeah, I hope that you have a lovely May. Mine is going to be very busy with travel, as I mentioned. So that probably means that my June bullet journal video is probably going to end up happening in the first week of June, because I really can't see me getting it done beforehand, and I want to be gentle and kind to myself. I'm not kind and gentle enough to myself, so yes. Anyway, here we are. Here's my bullet journal for May and the start of my new bullet journal for the rest of 2025. I hope that you enjoy the video. I hope that my incessant rambling, although I don't feel I was quite as rambly this time as I was last month. But yeah, I hope that you like the video. You can like and subscribe if that's what you want to do. But yeah, here are my cats and dogs and my setup for May. Thank you very much for watching my videos. I appreciate it, and I hope to see you back again for June's video. I cannot remember what the theme is, but I'm pretty certain I'll do a pop-up because I haven't done a pop-up for a little while, so we'll probably try and get a pop-up in there if I feel I have enough time and attention to pay to it. Thanks for being here. Goodbye.